Welcome, everyone, back to the Alpha Shift podcast. I'm David Kruger. I'm here with my special guest, Celine Passenaud, and we have a special treat for you today. First of all, I want to acknowledge it's been a while since you've seen a new episode. I think my last episode went live on October 20th. For the last 7 months, I have been held hostage by the U.S. government in a secret underground. Just recently affected my escape. And while I was going to take some time off, I see that Joe Biden is now president and people are still wearing masks. So it's more important than ever that I get back to work. Now, I can't save everybody from everything, but I can get back to work doing what I do. I can't help your mask. I can definitely help your relationships, your connection with women. I got to get back in touch with some of my subscribers. I haven't been around. I hope their wives didn't leave them. So I can't get back to work faster. So Celine, I'm so glad to have you with me. We have some great things to share and some surprises for everybody toward the end of this podcast. But before I start, I would love for you to introduce yourself a little bit to the audience. Tell us who you are and how you've come to this work, and let's talk about your relationships and your views on, the relationships with men and women and the unique challenges we all have.
Oh, that's like
no pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Well, like you said, I'm Celine, and I came to this. I'm a Kundalini Yoga teacher, and that's how I actually started diving deeper into my own practice, my own spiritual practice, and through my sensual practice as well. So going deeper into my body, going deeper into my emotions, into my feelings, opening myself up more. And I did that for maybe 10 years or so. And then in 2014, I kind of switched gears and I started coaching men and women on mindset, performance. I've also, I do a lot of crazy stuff. So
you do a lot of crazy
riding my bike 2,000 kilometers across the country, just all kinds of, always pushing the boundaries, getting in the ice, a lot of Wim Hofing. And I love that. But what I really actually do love the most is really having women reacquaint themselves with who they truly are, who they are at the core of their being, and to fall in love with who they are on every level, right? Quirks and all.
Yeah, warts and all.
Yeah, and then really just helping them to go deeper into their spiritual practice, if that's on the path that they're on. And that could be it could be by themselves, or it could be through communion with another human. So there's no right or wrong way in my eyes to grow your spiritual practice and to connect to source. And you can choose to go deeper into that practice, either on your own or with a partner.
Do you find that it is you talked a lot about spiritual practice and you were a Kundalini Yoga teacher. Does that enrich the quality of your relationships? Is it sometimes possible that you get into that to enrich the quality of these relationships? A deep spiritual practice can sometimes be a solitary thing. What in your experience does it enhance the depth and the quality of your relationships when you commune with another?
Well, it certainly is a different dynamic, and there is a possibility to know yourself, to see yourself in a completely different way than you would when you are on your own, right? So, I spent 30 days in the woods, right? Like, so that was very much, that was something that I needed to do for myself to take my spiritual practice deeper, but within my own self. And so that's one aspect of it. But I also very much like being able to go deeper and to know myself through another human being, because it really is through relationships, right? Without relationships, you wouldn't really be able to know how you move through the world, to know who you are. And I think there's a deeper sense, or there's a sensuality that comes with being able to be with another human being, and just really like giving yourself, like all of yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit. So they're different. And you can do both. You can do them simultaneously, right? It's there's no right or wrong way.
No, yeah, I'm just asking because much of the audience of this podcast is men, and they're going to be listening and thinking, okay, spiritual practice, Kundalini Yoga. What am I going to get out of this? Why am I doing this?
Yoga sex. Don't think anything else. Just think yoga sex.
Yoga sex.
Be able to, like, you know, like being able to have more stamina. Just think about being able
now you're talking. Okay. No. Yes.
You know, like that type of thing, to not really be in your head so much, not to be in your body too much, right?
Yes.
Really start controlling your ejaculations. Like there's a lot of different things you can, and so yoga sex is really fun. Yoga breathing, whether you're on your own, yoga breathing with a partner is actually a beautiful and amazing thing. So
okay, and that's
yeah,
and that's
so guys out there, don't think about like all that spiritual, like all that woo-woo stuff. Just think longer lasting sex, a little bit more of an intimate
right. And a lot of guys are just going to want to know how to be. I mean, you know, I mean,
and you can have a yoga mat or not have a yoga mat.
Okay. And what would you say is the biggest, you know, you've got experience, relationships with men. What is the greatest lack you've seen in men? What is your greatest frustration?
My greatest frustration
with if looking back, you know, relationships.
I think it's not, I don't know so much if it's men. I mean, I have to take responsibility too. It's, you know, it's always the dynamics, right?
Yeah.
I'm not built for the mundane. So I find that most men like to be comfortable, but that's how they just like to just be, right? But that's how men are wired. We're wired completely different, right? Like a guy just wants you to leave him alone. like just give me some peace, right? And a woman is like, she's like full on like wild and crazy, and she has these emotions, and it's like, right? Like just all of this. And so I think what helps is when a man can be present to the wildness or the craziness that sometimes a woman can go through, and still be in that space of love for that person.
What you just said was that
most guys just want to, like, you know,
what you just said would be
that's not good depending on where you're at, right?
Yeah, well, what you just said though is priceless. Would be worth $100,000 to the right guy if he understood what to do with that knowledge. Because yes, and you know, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had it in my own life. Women do have wild emotions. They're wired to have wild emotions. A lot of men are like, "What is wrong with this crazy bitch in my life?"
That's right.
And there's nothing. There's nothing wrong with her. She's, you know, her emotions are crazy. And I was just reading a newsletter from David Deida. We're going to talk about him in a few minutes in his work, and talking about a man, like in meditation and peace, a man goes to a place of complete quiet and stillness, like you were just talking about. And when a woman goes quiet, emotions start to flow. And it's very different. And the writing and the work that I have done with the Alpha Shift over the years has been so much about helping men deal with the frustrations, the inability to communicate with their wives and girlfriends, the inability to get satisfaction from the relationships, the inability to get sex when they want it. That's a man's number one frustration is there's no sex. The sex dried up. Meanwhile, what has happened is he is not understanding her, or seeing her, and she is closing to him because he's not seeing that. And we have this divergence going on, and all of a sudden the polarity is disappearing, and they're like roommates, and they're
That's right.
at
That's
odds. I mean, this would solve, I think, 80% of the divorces you see, is this understanding. And so with the alpha shift, I've had to take it up a notch and get a little weird and talk about things like Kundalini Yoga and polarity and energy, because this is what it's going to take.
Well, it's important. And the thing is, we also have to, like, not everybody wants that, right? Like, so some people, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? Because everybody's at different stages, right? So, there is very much still, David Deida, you talked about him, but so I'll just, we'll just say first stage, second stage, third stage women.
Would you please describe what that means?
Yeah. So, like, for example, a first stage woman would be a woman who is very dependent on a man, right? So she needs a man to take care of her. And those are the dynamics of the relationship.
Financially,
right?
emotionally, or
all of it.
Okay.
Right? She just really can't take care of herself.
Okay.
Right? She's like up and down, even if he doesn't want her, like she'll just continue to, like, there's a neediness to it.
Codependent, like?
Yeah, codependent, very codependent.
Okay.
And a second stage woman is a woman, maybe think of like somebody who's like a CEO or something like that, right? So she's moving through the world, and she's like, I don't fucking need a man. I got this. I'm gonna do this on my own, right?
Right.
So, but she's moving through the world as a second stage woman. She can still have relationships, but she's going to attract a man because she's so masculine all the time.
Okay.
That he can't meet her masculine, right? So again, there's no polarity there, and she's still not satisfied.
A lot of my clients and subscribers know second stage women.
For sure. So because what happens is, so her heart is here, right?
Okay.
And there's a longing for this surrender, but it just can't happen.
Okay.
Because in order to surrender, that means that you have to, there's certain boundaries that you have to let go of. It means that no matter what happens, like, you're there and you're feeling, and your heart is open all the time, right?
Okay.
If your husband calls you a bitch, if your boyfriend says you're whatever, man, you're just always in this space of feeling open. There's no closed it. Right?
Okay.
And so a third stage woman doesn't need a man. She wants a man. Like, she wants to surrender. She wants a man to be fully with her, to share herself with, to open all of herself with. And what happens is, you can still do that in the second stage, but what happens is, in order for that to happen, a woman has to trust the man that she's with. Okay. Right? And so sometimes, what happens in relationships when people don't, or, David Deida talks about this in The Way of the Superior Man, is like a man when he has no direction, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that hurts a woman. She doesn't know it hurts her. Right. Right? She doesn't understand. So, and it's not maybe, just use an example that the guy's lost his job or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So now he's like he's stewing, he's getting more depressed, he's on his phone all the time, he's like on Facebook, he's fucking not interested in life anymore, right? And so it's not that she doesn't love him, but now she doesn't trust him because he's not leading anything, he's not leading himself, right? As a second stage woman, she can lead herself. So that's usually what happens, is the woman will be like, well, fuck this. Mm-hmm. I can lead myself. Yeah. What do I need you for? Right. And so that happens without anybody really knowing what's happening. Right. So subconsciously, she doesn't trust him. Do you think subconsciously now she can't have sex with him? So mm-hmm. even if he were to come to her and want to have sex with her, she can't, because she's so closed off. Because of this, because she's not trusting. She can't open. A woman can't open her heart, her vagina, her mind, like all of it. Oh yeah, come and take me. Like, no, you're not being a man. Right. Right. And so she's confused, right? So now what happens is now she has to, so now her masculine has to come and drive her life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody's got to drive the ship. Like the ship
Somebody's got to
ain't going
drive.
nowhere without a captain, right? And so
Yes.
if a woman can't trust the man's direction, her masculine will step up and it will drive the ship. But you're not going to be touching her.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. She can't physically, emotionally, spiritually. She can't, because she can't surrender where there's no trust, no guidance.
A lot of men are listening to this and light bulbs are exploding above their heads right now because you just
Yay!
described.
Well, like women too, right? Because women don't know that this is
Yes.
happening to them, right? And so now they walk around and they look like these fucking stuck up bitches.
Yeah.
That they've got these, like, so now they're in their shell the whole time. They're completely closed off. And then what happens? Now all of a sudden, maybe her man does find somebody else who's a little bit more open in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then just because that's just a law of nature.
Right.
So
yeah, that right there. If you're listening to this podcast, roll back the last 10 minutes and listen to it over and over and over again. Celine just laid out for you exactly how it works. You were describing at least two of my last relationships, including my marriage. And so many that I have seen. And it's true. People don't know what's happening when it's happening. They're looking very much at the surface. We used to have sex 4 times a week, and now we haven't had sex since Christmas.
Exactly. But so if you were having, a deep, intimate connection, right? Where when you're in it and you're doing it and it's like lasting for hours and there's just, you're in this state of bliss. You don't need, right? Like the urge to just want, first of all, you have to recognize men have different sexual urges. Like they're way more sexual than women for the most part, right? They just want to have sex like all day long. That's all you think about, right? But it's to ejaculate all the time is not good for you.
No.
Not if you're wanting to grow deeper in that. There's a completely different level of right? And men are very much like that. Like they're directional, right? So it's like, that's the pull. Let's get it in. But seriously, come on. A quickie once in a while is good, but you know what? We want to be, women are different. We're wired differently.
Well, and that sense of having that great deep sex and not really needing it, but having it anyway, that tends to happen at the beginning of a relationship before there's been a lot of, before you've built up a lot of bad stock, before you've lost our trust, before all of those things have happened. Why can't it be like at the beginning is a common refrain? Well, the reason for that is at the beginning, you don't have a bad track record yet. At the beginning, you're like this wonderful, exciting new guy, and she is seeing all your great qualities, and you have not had a chance to screw up, leave your dirty socks on the kitchen floor, lose your job, be a pissy bitch about it, lose your direction. You haven't done all that stuff yet at the beginning. And so, the trick is, I think, honestly, and I've been in and out of relationships. I've had things crash and burn. That's why the alpha shift exists. Because I just got really pissed off and said no more. Yeah.
And, you're a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's where it came from. And so my thought for people, sometimes when you've been married for a while, sometimes things can be too far gone, and you're better off to focus your efforts on the next relationship, set her free to go find her way. Because the things we're going to talk about in our upcoming classes, and especially the work of Deida and a man really having his purpose and putting his purpose first and knowing who he is. This is really what gets men going when they understand the power of this and the power of being who they need to be. And that's the guy who can meet that third stage woman halfway and be that space for her. He can't, but he can't do that until he has his shit together, has a purpose in life, and is not.
Hold on, because we kind of we will always as human beings fall in and out of consciousness, right? Like we're not going to always be there. And it's not a matter of always having your shit together. It's just that, you're always moving in that direction, and that your presence and that you are conscious, most of the time, right? So, but yes, to have that direction.
Sure.
Women,
And that's what I meant by having your shit together. I mean, you're not going to be perfect in every moment,
no,
but just so long as you're,
unless you're Virgo, of course.
yeah, right. Yeah. And I know I got to be perfect all the time. You know, like I told you, I identify as a Leo. I am not into this Virgo. I've always hated, I don't like the virginal woman thing. You know, that's not who I am. But yes, I'm a Virgo on the, for anyone listening, born August 24th. And yes, Virgo on the cusp of Leo on the Western astrology chart, but on the Vedic, I am a Leo. I just want that known.
Okay, fine. Maybe the way you do your hair will say you today you're Leo.
Today I'm a Leo. Yeah, today I'm a Leo, and I used to be a lot more of a perfectionist. I'm a little better now, but are you not agreeing? Is that where that laugh is coming from?
I was just actually because I was thinking about a story that you told me once about I don't remember who it was, but a woman who was maybe not as neat as you. And I think in my experience, that's usually something that like a woman will say about a man, but it's only a thing that a Virgo man can say about
She was like that character on Peanuts, Pigpen, the guy who's going around with like a, it was like just, oh man, just stuff everywhere. Yeah. So it did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That drove me crazy. Okay. That's some Virgo in me. I will confess to that.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
Those things can be worked out.
Okay, yeah. Those things can be worked out. If other things, or if she's a third stage woman and I'm in my direction, she can leave her damn socks on the floor. That's fine. Okay. There's some things that are, that are acceptable. Yeah. As
I
soon
was dating a guy once, and he, a long time ago, and he told me, do you like to do you squeeze like the toothpaste to the very last? I was like, what does that mean? He's like, well, those are the kinds of things that people need to know about each other, because those are the things that end up driving people crazy. And I'm like, you know what? That might drive me crazy actually if somebody never finished what was in the toothpaste.
Okay. Yeah, my caveat to that, because yes, there are people who think that'll make or break your relationship. It's the little things. I think that when the big things are totally off the radar screen and screwed up, like these polarities that we're talking about, when that's subconsciously going wrong and you don't know what's going wrong, that's when you lose your mind over the toothpaste tube. I like to think that, that's when you lose your mind, because the frustration has to express itself somehow.
That's right.
And so that's when you go crazy about somebody not picking up after themselves, about, I had a friend, he newly married and he was trying to be helpful, and he put his new wife's, he was like doing some of her laundry and he did it wrong and she had a nuclear meltdown on him. And, it's just,
hey, listen, I could see that. Like, you know what? If you put bleach on my satin, it's like, it's over.
It's over. You're going to kick him right out of the house, right?
There's some things, I get it. I know you want to do something really nice for me. I can take care of my own laundry. I use my ivory soap.
Oh no,
I hang dry my silk so that it's got a really nice fresh smell. Like, I'll take care of that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you're married to me. You're doing your own damn laundry. Just for that very reason, there are some places I will never tread, and I just know better.
That's right.
So
That's good.
You and I, the things we know, the things we talk about this particular author.
Yeah, David Deida.
Would you tell the audience a little bit about Mr. Deida?
Ooh, well, David Deida. What can I say about David Deida? So David Deida is he's a spiritual master. He's been teaching what he's teaching for, I think, 4 decades now. But he really teaches men and women all about polarities and taking your spiritual practice deeper by coming together as 2 bodies. And so, and just really understanding the different polarities, right? The feminine, the masculine. And we won't go into all of that right now, because it's not about me being a woman, David being a man, right? That's not what it is, right? And so it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, whatever, it doesn't matter. And right now, I'm very much neutral. You're very much neutral. You're not being in your masculine. I'm not being in my feminine, right? But in a relationship, when two people are neutral all the time, then there's no polarity, right? So the attraction is kind of like, when you go deeper into your sexual practice, one person has to be a masculine identified and one has to be a feminine identified.
Yeah. And, one of the number one book I recommend to men who are struggling is Way of the Superior Man. It's probably Data's best. There it is. It's probably Data's best known book. And, and Celine talking about things like polarities and neutrality. And, some of these guys might be like, what the hell is she talking about? What he does in Way of the Superior Man is he in like 60 or so very short chapters, he describes different situations in life and how the masculine, what the masculine needs to thrive and how the feminine responds. And it's something of a roadmap for men about how to do life, how to do life as a man in masculine energy, and basically get that polarity with women, get a woman responding to you in the feminine, which is what you want. It's the dynamic you want at home. It's the way that you're going to get more sex, is if those polarities are properly aligned. A lot of these men, Celine, when you say polarity, they're thinking about a car battery. So yeah, you gotta like say a masculine over here acting like a man, and the woman who's a little bit more submissive and womanly, and that's what makes everybody want to come together. And you talked about a second stage woman. So many of us are or have been married to second stage women who fall into a masculine polarity, and it puts us off, and they get put off to us, because of what a lot of men do subconsciously. When the woman becomes more masculine, they kind of shrink back and become more submissive, become more feminine, let her make more of those decisions. And then you've really got a mess on your hands, like a bad.
That's right. Yeah, because once that happens, right, a masculine man, he won't know what's happening. Like, because all of this happens subconsciously to both people, right? The polarities change, the roles change. Now all of a sudden you've got a woman who is in her masculine all the time. She's completely out of whack. Her balance is all fucked up. Yeah. Now he's over here, right? And he doesn't actually even know what's happening, right? Mm-hmm. So he's feeling kind of strange. He doesn't know, he's all confused, mm-hmm. right? And so again, it's like the dance is all wonky.
Yeah.
And I think too, like what's important to know, it's like, to touch on too, is that, just because like a woman wears a dress, that doesn't make her feminine, right? Femininity is being open and receptive and relaxed in your body, right? And so when you say second stage women, when they come home, they're still stressed out from the day. They don't know how to and a man can feel that. Yeah. Right? When a woman, like a man is very aware of a woman's energy.
Oh yeah.
Right? So when she's all stressed out and she's in this like dude energy, yeah. Right? Then he's like, because a man doesn't want to be with another man.
No, we sure don't.
Yeah.
I was
it's very subtle. And that's why this book is great, because for women and men, because it's great for women too, because women also need to know. Women need to know also when they're starting to shut down, and to recognize when their wall now is when they're not open.
Yeah.
Because if women knew how to stay open, and it's not about trusting your man, it's not about trusting yourself, it's about trusting love, God, the divine. It's about trusting something that is completely outside of yourself. That's being surrendered. It's not about, I'm just trusting myself, I'm going to trust you, right? Like on some level, but on the grander level of it, it's just trusting love no matter what happens. So you don't close down. Because once a woman closes down, it's really hard for her. It's hard to reopen. And we've all, as humans, we've all been through things, right? We've all had some, whether it's through past relationships, been through some trauma, through childhood trauma, and we bring that with us too, right?
Yeah.
Bring that into the bedroom, well, then you're screwed there too. Because when you are coming together in that union, that stuff doesn't enter that space. That stuff gets worked out. It's your responsibility as a human, right, to get that stuff worked out, so that when you do come here in this divine union, that it's not showing up there. That's not getting worked out, right? We're not each other's therapist when we're like entering in this, like, you know.
What you just gave right there, Celine, you gave every woman basically the roadmap to save and salvage her relationship. You know, when you said, you know, just, you know, she needs to trust God, trust it like a divine force, and stay open. Stop making it about this man who she might be nitpicking. Because a lot of times, you know, we divorce people who are like fine. You know, it's like there's plenty of good people in the world who are divorced because things just close down until you're out of business. You're completely out of business. You know, that's kind of personal for me. I think about some relationships in my past, and it was like I was just trying to get her to open and see, you know, because usually I'm like the holdout, trying to save things till the very last minute, and there was just this sense of like giving up, of like closed, and you know, it's very hard. Once she's closed, it's very hard to reopen. What energetically, why is that, you think?
Well, energetically, I think what happens is like it's like a protective mechanism, right? We don't want to go through pain. We don't want to hurt. And so once we stay in this space for an extended amount of, so let's say, for example, you know, like you don't trust your man for like, it's like 6 months and nothing's happening. There's no intimacy. You're not having sex. He doesn't know what's going on, right? You're still in that space now. It's just becoming like your habitual way of being.
Yeah.
Now you don't know what to do anymore. And usually then maybe the relationship will end, and maybe then your heart will break. And then there's an opportunity for, you know, you to go again deeper into this space. But then what happens is, whether it's in another relationship or not, right? Someone else will trigger your past trauma that you had.
Oh, count on it. If you have it unresolved, you can count on that. Yeah.
Right. If you make a commitment, right? And it's not it's just a commitment. It's a commitment to stay open, no matter what happens, no matter what the pain is, no matter if your wife cheats on you, your husband cheats on you, whatever it is, that in that moment, even if you hate them and you want to punch them in the face, that your heart is still open. You're not going to go close down in your shell, go into that protective mode and say, I'm never coming out of here. And it's tough. Like, who the fuck wants to feel like that all the time? Right. But if you want to live your life authentically, and if you want to experience life to the fullest, it's the only way.
Yeah.
It's the only way to move through the world.
Yeah. And it's not easy, but that's really how you have the high quality of life. And if someone does something, crosses your boundary, cheats on you, it doesn't mean you don't kick them to the curb, but you do it with love and an open heart. You know, you don't close and you don't walk around with the trauma from this for the next 2 decades.
That's right. And bringing that now into your
next relationship. Exactly. Exactly.
And communication is extremely important too, right? But not when you're having your divine time. Like second stage is very much like that. Well, you know, I'm taking responsibility for myself and you're taking responsibility for yourself. We just want you to know that in this moment, this is what happened, this is how I felt. Well, this is what you said and this is how I felt. That's second stage. Right?
That's exhausting. Yeah.
Right. Third stage is like, we're open, the emotions are there, whatever, right? Yeah. You could still look at somebody like, I want to fucking kill you. But you're still open and you're still in that place of love.
Only, you know, it's funny, Celine, only recently have I begun to experience that. Is being in that state. And it took going through all the other stages. It took, you know, being angry at women for a while. It took closing. It took going through that and not liking the results of being closed. It took everything to get here. And I think, the only solution for men and women is to do this work. You can't we can't.
And it's kind of fun, like, like seriously.
We can't go back in time to an earlier, simpler time. There's the only way forward is through.
That's right.
And now we live in a time where everybody's confused about what the man does, what the woman does, what's appropriate. The divorce rate's up, and some people are nostalgic for the 50s. I wasn't there in the 50s, but I'll bet probably people just stayed married and hated each other because that's just what you did.
Well, that true, but that there was women were starting to be a little bit more liberal then too, right? So it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Now it's like, we're almost like, now it's like there's way more conscious women than the way that we're moving.
Yeah.
Right? There's going to be way more conscious women than there are men. And like, if you take a look at like people in their 20s now, like, what the fuck?
So let me translate.
We're still good, David. We're still good.
Let me translate what you just said for the audience. Okay. A lot of women understand these ideas, and generally speaking, a lot of men don't.
That's right.
But if they find a man who gets this and has a deep sense of presence, you will have to shut your phone off. They will be all over you. So remember that. Every man doesn't have to succeed in his relationships, but just you do. You're my listener. You're my responsibility. So you need to win.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean,
it's willing to practice, to be open and to practice and just say, you know what, I'm committed to being conscious. I'm committed to being present. I'm committed to do the work, right? And you could do that. You don't need a woman to do this work. You can do the work. You learn to open. You learn to stay conscious. You move in your direction. Like, no, I don't care what anybody tells you. The minute you give up your dream or you stop moving in a direction to please a woman, you're fucked.
Oh, damn right. That's what I was just. Yes,
no
absolutely.
Woman wants that.
Damn right.
No woman wants that. A woman wants you to be the best version of who you are, to give who you are, to show who you are to the world. That's what a woman wants, right? And so guys could say whatever. You can go, women just want. Yes, some women do want to be safe and secure and have men take care of them. Some women don't. Some women really do want to have a partner to move through life with, right? And even then, you got to be careful, because then if you become partners and you're always working together, there's just that. As long as you're committed to doing the work and to being the best version of you, then that's gold for both people, because now you're coming together and it's like, what can I give? Like, what can I give?
That's a powerful place to be.
How can I serve you? And not just in the bedroom.
No.
You'll play that shit out in your bedroom. You get all kinds. It's that place where you can have fun and just be like, explore.
Yeah.
Like, how can I serve?
How can I serve? Yeah, it's that was more gold there. I can like take a week off from the alpha shift and let you just do it. Exactly what men need to know.
Don't put me in my masculine, David.
I just threw you in your masculine. No, well, you said a woman doesn't want you to get off your course for her. She hates that.
Oh, hell no. And she's gonna try. So here's the thing.
Oh yeah, and she'll try. She'll test you.
For sure. But here again, these are things that happen subconsciously. We don't consciously go, ooh, well, let me see.
Let's test him and see if I can throw him off his course.
Right? Yeah. And then it's kind of like, oh, you might think, oh, that would be really nice. No, don't go to your hockey game the next day with me, please. Please. And then you do, well, you're fucked.
I think Deida, I think it's in Way of the Superior Man. He talks about the man going off to war, and she's like, "Oh, but please stay here and be safe with me. I want you with me." And then he's like, "Well, what if he did that? What if he said, okay, well, I'm not going to go home and stay with you?" She'd be like, "Ick, ooh, gross." Right. even though she was just saying, please stay with me, don't go. No, she wants you to be a man with direction. You have to go off and get shot at. That's what you have to go do. And so,
well, and here's the thing, right? So that guy that goes off, she trusts him.
Yes.
So she will devote herself, her heart to that guy because she trusts him.
Yes.
And because he went.
Yes. Because he set out because he kept his word is what he did.
Huge integrity. Yes.
Yeah. Integrity. He said he was going to do something.
And you take a look at and it's funny because if you talk to women, right, it's like when you say, well, what happened? Well, I got tired of inconsistency. Mm-hmm. I got tired of I'll do this and there's no integrity, mm-hmm. right? Like they're very subtle things, but they're things that they're very easily fixable. We don't have to we don't have to be at war with each other. And it's not about fuck the feminism. Well, I'm sorry, if you're a feminist, watching this.
So we say that a lot on this podcast.
I'm not a feminist. I don't want that. I don't want us to move into a world where there's an imbalance. I don't want imbalance. I want balance. Yeah. And the only way to have balance is when the masculine and the feminine are in balance. Not when the women are all out there ruling the world and no.
Yeah. No.
For you guys that think that that's what we want, maybe some women want that, but there's a lot of us that don't want that. Mm-hmm. We want it to be balanced.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. On the end of men, you have now more than one generation. You have multiple generations of these soft, nice, feminine, nice guys who have been kind of brought up to be appeasing to women. And, she said she wanted this, so I gave her that. She wanted to decide, what we're going to do with the kids after school, so I just let her do it. She wants to do it, so I just let her do it. And they're just going along, get along.
Again, now women again, so there it is. So now the woman is in her masculine.
And he ends up being a roommate.
She's making all the decisions. She's doing all of this. She's doing all of that. What the fuck?
Yeah, because guys don't know. They're
but how to swear on this show? And you were we should have asked you that at the beginning of the show. Drop the F-bomb.
It's all right. I'm gonna have to put for iTunes. I have to put like a warning on it so they don't give me a citation or whatever. But it's all right. I'm just gonna have to say foul language. So you might demonetize me, Celine. Thanks a lot. I can't get any clicks on YouTube. But that's okay. That's all right. That's not. That's
a great way to take responsibility.
I'm taking responsibility. If I was waiting for this podcast to make me any real money, I would be in deep, deep shit. So
cancel. Are we not part of the same training here?
Yeah. Okay. Cancel. Right. So what are we going to do about it, Celine?
Oh, well, I know what we're going to do about it.
What are we going to do about it?
So actually, I have a women's group starting on May 24th, and we're going to be going through the Dear Lover by David Deida. And so it's going to be set up as a book club. I'll be here just to facilitate and just really to guide women. This will be a sacred space in the sacred space here, the sacred space tantra room, whatever you want to call it. And so we're going to meet here on Monday nights at 8:30.
Okay.
And we're going to go through this book and discuss it. And then I think that you are, and I am actually too, we're going to go through the way of the superior man. And this will be for
men and women.
For men and women.
And we're going to
for this is yet to be determined.
Yes, we're going to have to start that sometime in June because I'm going to be out of town when you start the Dear Lover. So I'm going to need a couple more weeks. Perfect. But for those of you who are...
we can go on, people. Then we'll take you through how to find God through sex.
Yes.
And then we will take a look at Blue Truth. Spiritual guide to life and death, love and sex. And then for those of you that are interested in taking your practice a little bit deeper, I think David and I were talking about maybe my facilitating some couples or tantra from the sacred room and taking you through different breathing practices and postures and talking about, things, kink, like just really just exploring different aspects of how you come together.
Absolutely.
In your sacred space, in your bedroom.
And initially, these book clubs are going to be offered free of charge. We're going to just get a devoted group of people together. Eventually, we will be looking at something larger and something paid. But in the meantime, when you get the notifications and email about these free groups, I would strongly suggest you consider taking advantage of it. And Celine and I know well enough that when we're creating something, we go as far as we can see, and when we get there, we'll see a little bit further.
That's right.
Rather than having everything laid out before, we're just going to get started and
That's right.
start diving into this.
We're always going to let consciousness guide.
Yes, absolutely. So that's exactly how we're going to do it. And for Alpha Shift subscribers, keep an eye on your email box for more word on that. And Celine, I know you'll let your subscribers know what you've got going on. This has been quite an introduction to this new higher level of teaching that is coming from the Alpha Shift. And Celine, you're going to be a huge part of that. I'm glad you called me with this idea. I'm pretty sure it was channeling through you. And
it was actually.
it was. And so I think this is going to be this to me feels like the highest way to serve in this regard. I mean,
that's right. We are here to serve, I think you and I, David, both, I think that's why it's great timing, divine timing for both of us, because we really are here to serve.
Absolutely. I can teach guys a few tricks to be more attractive, but really, what's going to get you where you want to go? And it's really an inner transformation that must happen.
Because it's not about what you look like. It's about your presence, right? So
yeah, it really is. And so we're going in that direction. Much more to come. And I am so glad to my listeners. Sorry, it took me a while to break out of the underground base, but I'm back. Coming to you from the high desert in Utah, by the way, no longer in Detroit, Michigan.
Yay! That's right.
I love the sunshine. Love it out here. So more episodes to come, more training and groups with Celine to come. Celine, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure, David.
And we're going to be seeing a lot more of Celine in the future. So anyway, this is the first episode in a long time. This is David Kruger signing off. We'll see you again soon. Nastadanya.